Browns wrapping up preparations for the Steelers on Sunday, but we're going to start with something unrelated to the game. The NFL has closed its investigation into the latest Deshaun Watson legal complaint, Mary Kay. So there will be no suspension, nothing more with the personal conduct policy. We can close the book on the latest Deshaun Watson incident.
Yeah, and you know what? This is kind of a big development because if Deshaun had been further disciplined, such as a suspension or a fine, then there is a possibility that the Browns may have had some recourse with the rest of his fully guaranteed contract. So I think this is pretty significant. I don't think they had any plans to try to do anything in that regard anyways, but now this rules that out as a possibility.
Yeah, it's another point of clarity as the Browns kind of face this decision that they're going to have to make at some point here in the offseason, and it just takes one course of action off the table, Ashley.
Yeah, exactly. I think this was the final sort of big development we were waiting for with this, since they reached a settlement, outside of the situation with the NFL looking into it. So really this was the last thing regarding this case, these allegations. And right now, this seems to sort of be the end of the road with it.
Okay, on to lighter things. So the war of words between George Pickens and Greg Newsome reached a new level on Friday, starting with George Pickens, who was asked about Greg Newsome in the Steelers locker room, said, "I don't know him." Greg Newsome responded, Mary Kay, just this war of words escalating. Greg Newsome saying he doesn't respect George Pickens, essentially adds a little spice to this game on Sunday.
It really is. And then the kicker to the whole thing is the fact that George Pickens was added to the injury report today as limited with a hamstring injury. And the way that I just wrote it a little bit ago is, he just might want to get out there after all this trash talk and actually play in the football game. So we'll have to see how that goes. Sometimes with those late injuries, you never know if the guy's going to end up playing or not. But he is certainly poking the bear and getting the Browns fired up for this football game.
And Ashley, I know you wrote a lot about that incident earlier this week that happened after the game, and this just kind of takes everything to a whole nother level. And we know that Greg Newsome especially just loves this stuff. And he actually went on Twitter, X, whatever we're calling it now, and he posted a screenshot of George Pickens reaching out to him back in 2019 with a clown emoji.
Yeah, I mean, really, this situation I don't think needed any more fuel added to the fire when you look at everything that's happened over the last 2 weeks in the post game after that scuffle between those two, of Greg Newsome calling him a fake tough guy, George Pickens saying he doesn't think the Browns are a good team at all. So there was plenty, I think, of bulletin board material to already go around between these two sides, between the Browns DBs in general and George Pickens. But now there's even more. And as Mary Kay said, be interesting to see now if George Pickens even plays after a Friday add to the injury report.
Now the Browns have a couple injuries they're dealing with as well in this game. Cedric Wills will not play in this game. Not entirely unexpected, but Cedric Tillman is not going to play in this game either, Mary Kay. I know the Browns were hopeful that maybe they'd be able to get Ced Tillman back on the field. He suffered a concussion actually in the last Steelers game on a hit from Patrick Queen. So no Ced Tillman in this game. Maybe Juan Thornhill is back on that defensive side, but Ced really the guy that I think we all would have liked to have seen.
Yeah, absolutely. He was off to a really nice start this season before this happened. He is third on the team, or actually maybe fourth on the team in receptions and yards. He's got 3 touchdown catches, and he was really, really coming along very, very well. But it's given rise to another player who's been able to get on the field in Mike Woods. You're writing about him today, and he actually had a really nice game in Denver.
Yeah, and actually really with a guy like Ced, even with a guy like Mike Woods, any of these young receivers, it's going to be all about opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's really key. I'm sure that was a big part of your discussion with Mike Woods as well, because I think ever since the Amari Cooper trade, that's been the key for this room. What is everyone going to do with increased opportunity, more targets? And I think with Ced out now, it's a guy like Mike Woods that is going to potentially reap the benefit of that.
Okay, we will cover everything, including more on the Greg Newsome and George Pickens dust-up, all the fallout from that at cleveland.com/Browns.